Hello, welcome to Soup to Nuts. I'm Brian Iarussi, along with my father, Oswald Iarussi.
Ozzie.
We're back tonight cooking after about almost a year absence. We've been very busy tending to personal matters, the farm and kids and everything else. So we're back tonight, and why don't you tell them what you're cooking tonight?
Well, I'm cooking some chicken, and I'll show you what I've already prepared. I prepared ahead of time some boneless chicken, and it's stuffed. So what I'm going to do, I'll put it in the oven a little later. I'll cook the rest of these here to show you the process I use. This is boneless chicken breast, and it's stuffed with the three stuffings I had there. Some red peppers, some nice portobello mushrooms, and some Swiss chives that I've cooked with olive oil and garlic. And I use that to my filling. This I'll put in the oven a little while to heat it up when we're ready to sit down and have our meal. So I begin with a boneless chicken breast, and I'll show you what I do with this here. You notice that there's a thick end, this end here. What I'd like to do is, you can be very careful. This is a sharp knife. Just cut it like that. And what I do, I put it on a piece of wax paper. Well, not a piece of wax paper over it.
Saran wrap, you mean? Not wax paper.
That's why you're here, is supposed to tell me what I'm doing. Brian said it's saran wrap.
But you can use wax paper.
Now, I've got a mallet here that I would use for this, but where it's so tender and soft, you can use a cup. You see that, Paul? The picture of that woman on there, that girl. That's one of my grandchildren. Her name is Erin Connie. The next show we do, I have to get her on the show, is a fantastic story about her and me. So I have to get her on the next show. She's about 12, 13 there. So, once it's flattened out the way I want it, I take the top piece of saran wrap off. I leave the bottom on because I don't want to get it on the counter. Then I stuff it. I'll put some of this. This is Swiss chard, as I told you, 1 pound that I steamed, strained the water out, some olive oil, some fresh garlic, and I cooked that about 5 minutes. It gives a nice flavor. So I've used that on the other recipes, and I got, if you notice here, I got these, this is boneless chicken breast, this is the thighs. And I picked these up today because my number 4 son was the number 5 son, David. He loves chicken thighs, so I figured this is his house, his farmhouse. So I stuffed 4 of these, and I'll be stuffing 1 to show you how I stuffed that. So I stuffed this one. Just a little bit. And I like red peppers, a little bit of those. You can use anything you want to stuff these, but this is I love this combination. And a couple of these portobello mushrooms here that I cooked earlier with some butter. So what I do now is roll this, and this way you have to have patience. Sometimes they sneak out on you, but it's all right. Then I have these little pins here, somewhere. See, in the olden days, my mother used to use the toothpicks. But now we got these beautiful little pins that you can take out, and you know, toothpicks sometimes they break off in there. And you know, when you go to eat that, it could cause a problem. So we use this. What I try to do is keep it so that the pin is flat this way and not sticking out. If it sticks out, you go to cook this, it's going to stop it from cooking because it'll be sticking out of the pan. So I did this like this. Pick it up over here. And that's the breast. The other one I got here is David's favorite, thigh. A little different texture than the breast. The breast is very soft. You just notice when I flatten it out, I can flatten it out with my hand. This is firm, and it's a little different than the breast. I need a knife again. This part here is just about where you want it. This part is a little thick part. Now you can either cut it down the middle and stuff that, or slice it and roll it. I'll probably go down the middle with it. Again, back with some of the stuffing. Some red peppers. Brian, while you're there, you know what you do for me? Turn these up a little bit. I'm going to be cooking up in a minute. And some portobello.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm so I can start cooking. And then, like I say, it takes a little patience because sometimes they'll squeeze out. But we get the pins.
I'm gonna jump in while you do
Okay, Brian can jump in.
While he's doing that, tonight I'm going to be cooking pan-seared sea scallops, Italian roast potatoes, and some zucchini and tomato sauteed in oil. First thing, we have some potatoes, little baby red potatoes cut up in half. I'm going to add some olive oil, Dad. And I like to mix it up into a bowl first before I put it into the roasting pan. So a little bit of oil, a little chopped garlic. I like to use fresh, but since we had it already in a jar, we use that. Usually a little salt and pepper. Salt, pepper. And if any spices you like, this is garlic pepper, garlic powder, handle with spice these. Usually you take your hand and mix it around. And I go right into the roasting pan with those. And right into the 350 oven. So those are started. Next thing I want to do is slice up some zucchini. I like to cut it down the middle. I need to cut it. I'm going to buy it. And these are going into frying pan on high. These I usually mix in a separate bowl as well, but tonight we're just going to throw them into the pan. I got a little butter in the pan, a little oil too. Again, with these I just salt and pepper them. So I'm going to let that heat up a little. We got extra large to medium to large sweet sauce defrosted with some little vine plum tomatoes that we're going to add at the end with the vegetables, saute those a little bit. And we're going to pan sear these in some oil and butter, which I will do once we get the vegetables started. It's a nice healthy dish. Something we're going to try to start doing after the first of the year instead of doing always Italian food. We're going to try to get into some other things, some canned things and meat. Scallops are my favorite and they're relatively healthy for you, so we're going to do those tonight. Alright, this is starting to heat up. So you can add some of these in. I I just realized I forgot, I usually add some onion into that too. I don't know if my father has any onion over to do.
No. Red onion, okay?
Any onion is fine. Yeah.
I got it next door. Maybe Mark can take some for us.
Maybe somebody on the staff can go get some red onion for us.
Next door in the refrigerator, May?
Any type of onion is fine. You don't have any white over there?
Down cellar.
We need some white onion down cellar if we can. And we're going to add salt and pepper to this, that's it. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on the can for the sauce. I have, as you can see, a big chunk of butter in here and a little olive oil. Probably want 2-to-1 butter to olive oil. That's going to give these a nice brown, seared color to them. And the way to sear them is you want to get it very high to begin with. And put the, as you'll see, you'll put the scallops in them very high and turn them quickly and then turn the heat down. You want them to get them golden on the outside, but you don't want it too high because they'll shrink a little bit. So that's basically it. And I usually saute some onions first. That's what I'm going to do. Caramelize some onions in that first and then put those in. So while we're waiting for the onion, why don't you update them where you are.
Just the process involved here is just browning these first. As you notice, I'm just keeping them over. You notice how soft and tender the white breast was. Once you start cooking it, it firms up and you can handle it pretty easily. You like that? I have to get it nice and brown. These are starting to brown up. If I can turn it over. Once I get them brown the way I want, I just cover them up, and we can put them in the oven and cook them. But my mother used to do everything on the top. We didn't have, you know, the old wood stove. We used to put the cover on there. The same thing as putting in the oven. Now, if you notice now, we use this. We have our own little bottle of olive oil next door, but again, I'm doing this the way my mother used to do it. She used to have a gallon of oil, use that. This is one pan she had many years ago that I use a lot when I cook, because what happens, the chicken will stick in the bottom of this. Later on, I'm going to make a little gravy that I'll be using. I add some wine. I'll be using this to make a little gravy to pour over the chicken when it's done. So this is almost ready to cover. When I cover it, just a matter of cooking about 15-20 minutes, and it's going to be delicious. I want it to stick so you get a little brown like that. See, I like that. I'll turn that down in about 5 minutes, and we'll be ready to cook it up.
Okay, the butter's starting to melt. As you can see, you want to get it pretty hot to begin with. These are starting to heat up. What I'm going to do with the scallops first is season them first. Seems like I'm only using salt and pepper tonight, but that's really all you need. You don't want to put any garlic or anything on these. You could. What I'm waiting for first is the onion. Somebody went to get the white onion that I forgot.
That's down south. They won't find it, Brian.
Yeah, I told them to get it. So I want to caramelize the onion first, then take the onion out, and then add the scallops. And at the very end, add the onion back in. So I guess I can keep turning these until we get that onion up here.
If you notice here, I got a pie plate over that, which is all right. I've turned the heat down, so I'm just gonna put this on, cover it up, and bake that. These I'll put a cover on just in a minute. That's brown. That's nice.
Yeah, you said you had the white onion downstairs?
It's downstairs on one of the shelves in the bag behind where the wine is. You got that?
Yeah, we're looking for it now.
One thing about cooking, my mother taught me many years ago, is preparedness. You have to be prepared, and you have to have all your ingredients and everything ready when you cook. You notice that when I started here, I had everything I had placed out. But Brian, one of the first shows he did, I wasn't on the show at the time. He called me up and said, "Dad, in the middle of the show during the break, I've got to have you pick up some kind of crackers for a dip." I forget what it was, Brian. So I had to rush up to the store, pick up the crackers, and shoot up there and give it to him. But see, he's not prepared. That's one of the key things about cooking. Prepare. Have everything ready, so all you have to do is put it together. This is brown now, Paul. I'm going to put the cover on, just turn the heat down. And again, it's the old Italian way. We don't put a cover on, it's fine. This is cooking nice and slow. Turn it down a little more. While they're waiting for the onion, my mother, I told you, she used to be the, my father called her La Padrona, the boss. And she demanded respect and also to do what she told her to do. So during that period of time, during the 30s, late 30s, early 40s, there was a war going on between the Irish and the Italians. I told you about that. They didn't get along, whatever the reason was, either jealousy or whatever it was. They didn't get along. My mother told me, "I do not want you to associate yourself with any of the neighbors." Used to be a next door neighbor, was an Irish family, Mr. Mullen. "Do not associate yourself with them. And if one thing, never, never get involved with a girl." So, at 13, I was madly in love with this beautiful Irish girl, blue eyes, blonde, light complexion. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we had made a date to meet at the theater. I didn't have any money, so she found 2 milk balls for me, and she put over the fence, in the back fence, and I picked up, cashed them in the store, 10 cents. I ran to the movies, got to the movies, and the place was jammed. Must have been The Wizard of Oz, I think it was. The only seats were available were 2 or 3 seats in the rows in the front of the theater. So went down, sat in the second row. I wasn't planning on watching the movie. I was planning on putting my arm around her and giving her a kiss and all. But anyway, we got to the movies, sat there. The lights dimmed. I said, "Oh, the movie started. I'm all set." The movie just about ready to come on, the previews, and I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around, and she said to me, "Don't you be ashamed for yourself?" That was one of her favorite expressions. "Don't you be ashamed for yourself." I wasn't ashamed, but I quickly got up from the seat with my friend, ran out of the theater. I think what happened as time went on, amnesty was there. The Irish and the Italians get along, and that was the first step probably as far as getting along with the Irish people. But her favorite expression was, "Don't you be ashamed for yourself," and I wasn't. I was in love. You got the onions yet?
Still waiting on the onions.
All right,
If I
no
don't get
onions.
them, I think I'm just gonna go to the store and buy it myself by the time those guys find it downstairs. But anyway, my own fault.
Wow, look at that.
That's cooking up nice in the butter and the oil. This butter was nice and hot, so I think I'm gonna try one and see. Yeah, that's what you want it to do. You want it to, I got the heat on high right now, so I'm just gonna add these scallops to it. Watch, I bet you they have the onion now that I just added that. Anyway, getting back to pan searing. That's what searing is when it's on very high heat. You want to sear the outer edges and it keeps the moisture in. Do that with any type of meat as well, which we'll do in later shows. But right now I just want to get that. Usually the way you can tell is that you don't want to touch them once. Once they're in the pan like that, you don't want to keep moving them around. You want them to really get brown. And the way that you can test it is it'll You'll be able to, it'll slide freely, so you'll know that it's
Behind the wine,
on there.
on the shelf, there's some boxes. There's a bag there, should be in there. Why don't you take a break, we're gonna get the wine.
When we take a break, we'll get the onion,
Onion.
which is fine.
All right.
This is fine. You just keep that on high. You want those to get nice and brown too. I added some fresh garlic in there. If you have some white wine, usually at the end I'll add some white wine and cover it when I add the tomatoes. So let's check and see if any of these move now. No, see, as you can see, they're still a little. They're not sliding yet. So I'm not going to touch them until they slide. Then I'm just going to flip them, and you just want to get those golden brown. They'll be nice and tender. Meantime, this zucchini's cooking nice. You want it to get nice and brown too. Add a little onion in there, and at the end we're going to add a little bit of tomato in whole. And that's a nice, healthy dinner right there.
You want to open the oven for me, Brian?
Potatoes. Slide them by the potatoes. Potatoes get nice and brown. We'll show you those.
I can take a break.
I want to flip those
All
before
right.
we do it. Okay, the onion cake.
I knew they'd find the onion.
Yeah, we got the onion.
I'm sure the next show you do, Brian, you're going to have the onion on your list, one of the first things.
Yeah. I usually get a Vidalia onion, which are a lot sweeter, but I forgot to get it as I stated earlier. So, just want to use a little onion anyway.
Well, I'm all set here, Brian. I was going to
Yeah, I want to check these.
make
over.
my salad after.
Okay,
Okay, brown.
If you zoom in, that's what you want it to look like, even a little bit more seared than that. I'm gonna let it sit, but that's how you want it to be brown before you flip. So when I come back after break, we'll flip these. I'll add the onions and just throw the tomatoes in, and we'll be all set. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, the scallops browned up nicely. What I'm going to do is going to keep the heat on. See how you have the pan, Paul can get a shot of it. How the butter gets nice and brown after it sticks to the bottom. I did get the onions in there, they're nice and caramelized. Now you turn the heat up, you take some dry white wine, and it should start the heat's high enough, which it is. It'll stop bubbling like that. And what you want to do is just get all the pan drippings in. It's called deglazing. I'm sure you've seen it on all the cooking shows on these. That's why it's important to use, whenever you're searing anything, use a stainless steel pan. It's easier to deglaze it with, and you don't cut up the Teflon. So that, it ends up making a nice brown sauce to go with the scallops. So, it takes 2 seconds to glaze that. My father's going to do the same. Before he does that, I'm going to, as you can see, this is all nice and soft and sauteed and brown. The last thing I'm going to do is turn the heat up, add some of those tomatoes, and I'm going to add a little white wine to this too to give it a little taste.
Put them in here, Brian.
My father's going to deglaze his pan, as you can see. He's got the heat up. And shut the heat off of the scallops, plate them. Kind of too big of a plate, but you turn the heat up on here and just cover that with the white wine like that.
And before I deglazed this, I took some of the fat off of that because, as you notice, there's some fat there from the chicken. I left a little bit in there, but just a little bit. And this is the chickens that we did. We be cooked. Some of the thighs and the breast. Nice and brown they are. We'll cut the, oh, I should cut one in half. Give me my knife, Brian, please. So we got here. And there's the nice and the mushroom and the peppers and the Swiss chard. They'll all be the same. The bigger ones be more like this. I can pour some of this on there. I don't have a strainer here. All right, time to eat. There we are, there's the chicken. And we have a nice salad over there we got ready to go. Nice salad to go with this, with the potatoes and the scallops and the vegetables. And this wine here, by the way, is our white wine that I made some, and not quite ready yet, but it'd be good enough to drink for tonight. In about 2 or 3 months, we'll be ready to bottle that, and we'll have wine down the cellar. Like I said many shows before, that if I had 50 gallons of wine in my cellar, I consider myself one of the wealthiest men in Medway. We have 50 gallons of wine, and I'm very wealthy. Where's David? David and his crew. We got about 2 minutes to come in. Is David my number 5 son?
All right, I'm gonna plate up this. That's a nice Christmassy dish. All colors there for you.
Nice.
Come on,
get David in.
Right when it comes out of the oven, you want to, best time of the season.
Potatoes?
Potatoes, so we're still cooking. I'm gonna have to check them at the very end, the last minute of the show, and see if they're brown, but
We'll put them in there, it'll look good.
they might not be brown. Yeah, they're getting there.
What do you think?
Potatoes are getting there. They might have to go back in, but almost. We're getting nice and golden brown. Probably another 10 minutes, so.
All right.
While we're off camera, we'll put them back in. Can't grab the end of that.
Where's Uncle David? There he is. There's David.
Is it time to eat yet?
Well, yeah, we're almost ready to eat.
We're all hungry.
There's Tony.
Morning, Ty.
There's Tyler. There's the 3 Musketeers. The 3 Musketeers.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
All right, we'll see you next time on Soup to Nuts.
Bye.
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 Arrivederci.
Say bye.
Bye.
Every day we throw away tons of trash that could easily be recycled. Every week in Massachusetts, we throw out almost 1 million newspapers. We use more than 9,000 plastic bottles every minute.
But only about 25% of them are recycled.
Some people think recycling takes too much time or it's too hard. This is going to be our world soon.
Help us take care of it.
Recycle
It's one place where a little effort
can make a big difference.
Tommy wants to design bridges when he grows up. Maybe he'll design one that you'll use. Now, would you like this free booklet of simple ways you can help improve his education? Call 1-800-96-PROMISE.